Welcome to Lisa Does. I'm Lisa. Today we're going to talk about borders, wavy borders specifically. We're going to talk about what causes them and how to get rid of them. So join me.
First, let's talk about why your borders are wavy. So everybody designs their quilts to be like this, straight edges. And we assemble our quilts to have straight edges. As we handle our fabric, that fabric gets heavier and heavier as we assemble the quilt, and those corners stretch out because those corners are the least stable part of our quilt. So eventually, by the time we're done, our corners can be like this. Meaning our quilt is no longer square. Let's go farther in there. There we go. Now these are much longer than they originally were. Even more so, this is curved. Some people say to measure in 3 places and take the average measurement, but that's not how you want to get your borders straight. What you want to do is you want to take the smallest measurement, which will almost invariably be at the center of your quilt. So you can take your quilt down from wherever it is, fold it in half, and measure across that halfway point. Measure on that fold. And that is your border length. So this doesn't answer yet why your borders are wavy. Remember, we're quilting along that curve there. Let's say that this is a quilt border. If we line it up on a straight edge, you notice it's nice and flat. If that edge is curved, then what happens to our border? It gets wavy. So if we make it so that all 3 of those points, the end matches the middle, then our border is straight again. I don't have an actual quilt to show you, so I'm going to use this as an example. Say this is your quilt top. It's kind of stretched out along the edge, and it's bigger than your border. I'm going to show you how to ease these in together so that they match. Now remember, this border is the same length as the width of the center of your quilt. So this quilt would go like that. First thing we do is find the center point of our quilt edge. And we place a pin right in the center point. And then we find the quarter point by folding the end to the center. And we stick a pin at the quarter. Then we find the 1/8. Stick a pin in there. We find the next 1/8 by folding those pins together, and we stick a pin there. This way we have these pins equally distributed along the length of our quilt top. And we do the same for the other side. And there you have it. You're all pinned up, equally distributed along the length of the quilt top. Then you do the same for your border. All right. And this is how it would fit together. As you can see, our pins do not line up, but we knew that. What we want to do is we want to match the center and pin there, and then match each set of pins as we go along. And we pin them together. And then once we get to the end, we pin at the end. Match the ends and pin there. We do that on each side. Now we have them matched up, and you can see our gaps in there. We're going to let the machine take care of that. But what our pinning did is it distributed that fullness evenly throughout our seam. So let's go to the machine and I'll show you how we let the machine help us. Here we are at the machine. I have it set to kneel down position. And I place the end in, put the presser foot down, and go a few stitches in. Then I put just a little bit of tension on our quilt border. We're not stretching it out. We're just putting a little bit of tension in it so that the feed dogs have a chance to feed the quilt top part of it in faster than the border. We take our pins out as we move on. And now we're done. Now we're finished. We have our quilt top drawn in, eased in. If you look here, you can see that that fullness is evenly distributed through the width of the border. It looks a little wonky here because I did this with an extreme amount of fabric, and this is not a quilt top. This is how you do it. And what this will do is it draws that edge in to match this width. So it pulls this edge straight again after we get the top and bottom borders on, or the sides, whichever you decide to do first. After you get those on, then you fold along the opposite way and you measure along that fold to get these borders. And you follow the same procedure with these borders as you did with these. As long as you stay with the center dimensions, or the smallest dimensions, the center of your quilt should end up flat. And you should have square corners and straight edges and flat borders. Thank you for joining me today, and may your borders ever be flat. Like and subscribe for more quilting content. Thank you.